On August 14, 2023, a TikTok user known as Mima Giovanna posted a video to her account showing her and a friend standing outside late at night. For most of the clip, the two appear to be having a conversation while the camera records the area around them. Everything seems completely normal at first, but then something unusual suddenly enters the frame.
Malam ini indah sekali, guys. Tapi kalau di sini nggak kelihatan ada bulan sama bintang. Naon itu?
Right around the 9-second mark, a small white figure can be seen darting across the street at high speed, causing Mima to immediately react in shock before the video cuts off moments later. Because the object moves so quickly and the footage is fairly blurry, it's difficult to get a clear look at exactly what was captured. Even so, whatever it is appears to be both very small and very fast. Naturally, there are a number of possible explanations. Some viewers believe the clip may show something paranormal, while others think it could be an animal or another small object passing by quickly and creating an unusual effect. Unfortunately, the footage is simply too brief to draw any firm conclusions. Whatever the case may be, it's certainly one of those clips that makes you replay it a few times, just to make sure you saw what you thought you saw. So what do you think flew across the street that night? Was it something ordinary caught at a strange angle, or something much harder to explain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, this next video comes from Isabel Riley, who no doubt believes that she may have evidence of something that can't be explained. The video she's made shows this evidence, which was captured by her boss, who later shared it with her. According to her boss, he was at a restaurant in New Orleans known as Antoine. Now, at this restaurant, there's a huge wine cellar with hundreds, if not thousands, of wine bottles worth millions. So out of curiosity, he checks it out. But if only he knew what was down there, he wouldn't have gone. While being in the cellar, he snaps a couple of photos, some of which show the owner of the restaurant, who was giving him a tour. In one photo, we see the restaurant owner on his laptop, who apparently was placing bids for more wine during an online auction. The boss takes a few more photos and then leaves the restaurant before calling it a day. The next morning, he's on his phone looking at his camera roll when he notices something odd in one of the pictures that he took. Isabel presents those images. Take a look.
This is the first picture that he showed me from the wine cellar. You can see this guy who is on his laptop at auction doing whatever. And here is the next picture that he took. So we all see that. That is a full body apparition. It looks like a woman in this like black Victorian dress. And when I was showed this, I genuinely had full body chills. This is insane. I've never seen anything like this, and I need to not be alone in seeing this because holy...
Unlike anything Isabel has ever seen, a seemingly full-bodied apparition appears clear as day in the pic. A cursed image is what some believe this might be. Others, however, have no idea what was captured. If only 2 people had been in the cellar, then who was the third person? And why do they appear to be dressed in clothes that seem to have come from the 1800s? They, or it, were nowhere in sight when the photo was taken. It's for this reason that Isabel's boss is certain that something ghostly was caught. Whether a ghost or something else, viewers can't help but feel immensely uneasy when looking at this pic. They don't know why, but something about it disturbs them. While Isabel has yet to figure out what was captured, viewers are certain that this was paranormal. But, as always, let me know your thoughts on this one. TikTok user Francisco Javier says the strange activity in his home in Spain began after he explored an abandoned farm he found in the middle of nowhere. According to him, the place was filled with intense paranormal activity.
Vale. Que no sé, tío. Está por aquí. Hola. Escúchenlo. Ahora sí me lo hizo detrás de mí. Ahora sí me lo hizo detrás de mí.
While Francisco is recording at the farm, a door suddenly slams shut behind him. After that visit, he starts to believe something from the abandoned property may have followed him home.
Empiezo a grabar porque estoy escuchando sonidos desde el baño muy raros y estoy solo en casa. Dentro del baño. ¿Qué cojones? No puede ser. ¿Qué coño?
Back at his apartment, Francisco thinks he may be dealing with more than one presence. He begins hearing mocking voices, laughter, and even the sound of someone crying late at night.
Escucha. Los niños. ¿Qué cojones? No hay nadie.
At one point, Francisco hears what sounds like a baby crying inside his apartment. Disturbed, he searches the entire place, but finds nothing that could explain where the sound is coming from. On another night, the activity becomes even more disturbing when his Amazon Alexa starts acting strangely.
Escucha. Mira, se acaba de conectar. ¡Qué susto!
Francisco claims the Alexa is disconnected, yet it suddenly speaks in Spanish, saying, But that isn't the only strange moment involving the device. Things only become more unsettling from there.
Coño.
A female voice seems to laugh through the Alexa, but the laughter stops the moment Francisco comes around the corner. Then a different voice, much deeper and more sinister, calls out to him. Francisco has no idea how to stop what's happening, so he tries to continue his normal life. But one night, while he's sitting at home watching TV, the activity returns again.
Escuche, acabo de empezar a escuchar a tocar desde esa puerta. ¿Están tocando desde ahí? ¿O es cosa mía? Míralo, mira. ¿Hola? No puede ser. ¿Qué coño es eso? ¿Qué coño es eso, tío? ¿Qué coño es eso? ¿Qué cojones? Hay una luz aquí encendida también. ¿Qué es eso, loco? ¿Qué coño era eso? Nada, tío. ¡Buf! ¡Qué puto susto, loco!
Francisco hears knocking coming from his hallway door. When he gets up to check, he sees what appears to be a small child looking in through the window. Shocked, he opens the door, but no one is there. So, did something follow Francisco home from the abandoned farm? Was he dealing with multiple spirits, or was the entire thing an elaborate hoax? You decide. Graveyards and cemeteries are understandably believed to be incredibly haunted places, but it's usually only at night that people feel afraid to enter them. For this reason, Alexander Gabetti from Vicaria, Brazil, felt no reason to be scared when visiting a family member's grave during the day. However, from the moment he entered the cemetery, he felt a mysterious sense of dread, as if something horrible was about to happen. He tried his best to ignore the feeling and visited the grave as planned, but just as he was about to leave, he spotted something in the corner of his vision, something that shouldn't have been there. Creeped out, Alexander pulled out his phone and started recording. Alexander sees what looks like a pale face staring out at him. Initially, he tries to convince himself that it's just a person who accidentally got locked inside, but if this was the case, he believes they would have called out and asked for help. Whoever, or whatever this is, just stares silently. Creeped out, Alexander quickly leaves the cemetery and shares the footage to his social media, hoping to get some answers. Many people think that the face could belong to a ghost, perhaps someone who is buried inside the crypt. Even if there is another way to explain this spooky footage, the idea that a ghost was watching him from the shadows is something Alexander will probably never forget. It was already late at night when a man named Leandro was returning home after a long day of work. But as soon as he arrived in front of the house, he realized that the home that should have been completely empty might not have been so empty after all.
Ué? Calma aí, gente, deixa eu abrir aqui. Caramba, velho, eu jurava que tinha alguém aqui. Que susto, velho. Oi?
As we can see, a dark figure appears to be watching him through the window. Frightened, he quickly goes inside to confront whatever it was, but finds absolutely no one inside the house. That night, Leandro tried to convince himself that it was nothing more than a reflection, exhaustion, or simply the darkness playing tricks on his mind. But a few hours later, it was the family's own dogs that began acting as if someone was still outside. As it got closer to 11 o'clock at night, the barking became constant and aggressive, forcing Leandro to turn his attention back toward the backyard. That's when something between the animals and the darkness caught his attention.
Tinha vulto seguindo as cachorras em casa. Vejam até o final, consegui filmar o vulto.
For only a few moments, a strange shape appears to move across the area near the laundry room before disappearing completely into the darkness, just enough to leave behind a difficult question to ignore. Were the dogs reacting to it, or did it appear precisely because the dogs already knew it was there? But perhaps the most curious detail in this story only appeared the following morning. The two dogs, who only hours earlier had been barking desperately in that direction, now seemed determined to stay away from that exact side of the backyard, as if something about that area simply didn't feel right to them.
Duas cachorrinhas aqui de casa. Acabei de chegar agora pra almoçar. E elas estão com medo de ir lá naquele canto, ali onde eu fiz aquela filmagem ontem à noite. Eu estava aqui nessa porta aqui, lá de dentro. Eu abri essa janela aqui e filmei ali. Então tinha um vulto, passou bem aqui assim, ó. Vocês podem ver no vídeo que eu fiz ontem à noite. Em 48 segundos vocês vão ver. Ela fica meio que com medo de vir para esse canto aqui. E sempre quando fica ali naquele canto, ela começa a latir. Foi muito sinistro, gente.
As the weeks passed, recording what was happening inside that house stopped being a matter of curiosity and became part of Leandro's routine. According to him, strange events seemed to happen often enough that simply ignoring them was no longer an option. That's how the recordings began to pile up, and the more footage there was, the stronger the feeling became that perhaps he and his mother were not the only residents of that house.
Oi? Você tá aí fora? Ixi, acabei mexendo na chave. Mas você tá aí fora? Derrubei a geladeira aqui agora. Que merda, velho. Tô no meu quarto de boa, olha só a cadeira onde fica, né? Oi? Tá tudo bem? Oxi. Tá, gente, eu tava indo deitar. Eu tranquei a porta. Abriu a porta, mas a chave tá pelo lado de dentro. Mais uma noite normal aqui em casa.
At some point, however, the family made the decision to leave the property behind and continue their lives somewhere else. And honestly, after everything we've seen so far, that may have been the best decision they could have made, because some stories seem to remain tied to the places where they happened. And after everything that happened, I think we're all hoping that Leandro and his mother finally found the peace that that house apparently was never able to offer. The following video was taken by a security camera on someone's balcony somewhere in Indonesia. The footage shows someone on a motorbike almost crashing straight into a wall, but something else is captured. Watch closely. A dark shadow figure can be seen rising up from the ground off in the distance and clearly moves behind the leg of the building, so it doesn't appear to be something on the lens. Some nearby locals came to help the man and check he was okay, but none of them seemed to notice the dark figure. However, many people in the comments believe this figure was somehow responsible for causing the collision, but without further information, this one remains a mystery. On a Thursday night somewhere in Florida, two friends decide to record themselves at a slumber party when something pretty creepy is captured. Both friends hadn't noticed anything peculiar in the video until one of their moms had seen the footage.
This is my daughter and her friend. Please watch closely between them. No one else was up in my home.
Heather, the mother in question, is baffled by this footage, given that it took place inside her home, where other strange things have happened before. Occasionally, she would catch her dog looking at something that doesn't appear to be there, and other times she would see her cat staring at a space that's completely empty. Now, although she thinks there might be an explanation for both common occurrences, she can't say the same for the following incident. This footage is unlike anything she's ever seen. It's late at night when this is captured.
This is my daughter and her friend. Please watch closely between them. No one else was up in my home. Look between them right
I'm a crochet crafty
now.
woman.
What was meant to be a fun little video has turned into a scene out of a horror movie. Without realizing it, both friends had caught something moving in the background. It appears briefly, for just a split second, before exiting from view. Whether a person or something else, no one had noticed it until the video was sent to Isabel's mother. It was shortly thereafter that both girls became aware of this mysterious figure. While it is uncertain as to what was captured, they can't help but think that something otherworldly was present during that night. This one continues to remain a mystery. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. If you like this upload and want to see more creepy videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming uploads. And let me know in the comments which clip you found the most disturbing.